Suddenly, a massive Daruma doll barges into the university classroom. Talk about a surprise guest. The whole class is in an uproar. And just like that, a terrifying game of death kicks off. The only rule is that whoever moves will have his head explode immediately, like a pop balloon. The Daruma turns around for a while, chanting its little song. At this time, everyone is crying and screaming in fear, because, honestly, no one understands what is really going to happen to them or why their geometry lesson turned into a horror movie. Some students try to escape from their bad idea, but as soon as they run to escape, squish, they are crushed, their heads explode. In this way, one after another, the bodies keep falling faster than my grades during finals week. In this terrible, difficult situation, a boy named Sataki remains calm. He tells everyone that first they have to understand what this game really is, and he explains that this doll is actually a Daruma, usually a symbol of luck, but today, a symbol of death. Just then, they notice that there is a button on the back of the Daruma. If you can press the button, the game will end. After knowing this, one of the students becomes desperate to be the main character. He jumped to press the button, but as soon as he got close to the Daruma, he stopped cold. Boom! His head exploded. He didn't even get the chance to press the button. Then everyone else realized that the task was not easy at all. There was no escape today. Evidently, skipping class was not an option. Then they were surprised to see that a timer was set behind the Daruma. Time was running out. This meant that if they couldn't press the button there within this time, everyone would die. Then they tried desperately to press that button one by one, but the result was a big fat 0. They fell to their death serially, and in the end, only 2 survived the risk of head explosion. Sun and Sadik are the last ones standing there. Meanwhile, the timer is almost over. Sadik tells Sun, "Friend, jump off my neck." Sun jumps with all his strength to save his life. This time, at the very last second, he is able to smack that button. This time, the Daruma announces in a strong voice that the game is over. They scream with joy and high-five each other, but just then stop. Satik's head explodes. Now the real brutal truth becomes clear. Only the one who actually presses the button can survive in this game. That is, Sun is the only winner. Talk about survivor's guilt. This time, Sun looks at the doll and speaks. He says to the Daruma, "Can I go back to my normal life now?" The Daruma then laughs loudly and says something cryptic. "If you are a rat, a cat is coming." Just then, Ichika arrives there and says the same horror show happened in her class. She pressed the button and won too. Listen, she wants to call the police, but of course, there is no network coverage when you need it. The Daruma again warns that the cat is coming. After hearing this, the two run away as fast as they can, but all the doors in front of her are closed. After trying a lot, they can only open one door, and through that door, they enter the university gymnasium, and slam, the door shuts again. It closes tight, but as soon as they enter here, their eyes widen. Some students are standing here dressed in ridiculous mouse costumes, and just then, a strange sound comes from the room. To escape from here, they have to throw a bell ball into the basket hanging on a cat's neck. But the only question is, which cat is it? It doesn't take long to get the answer. Suddenly, a huge, terrifying porcelain cat appears in front of them and starts a rampage. It starts roaming around the gymnasium room looking for snacks. Everyone starts running around desperately to save their lives, but this monster-shaped cat starts eating everyone one by one like they are cat treats. The death march spreads all around the gym. And just then, something that looks like a basketball falls in front of them, and a 9-minute timer is set there. No one can understand that this carnage will end only if they can throw this ball into the basket hanging from the cat's neck within these 9 minutes. Ichika throws the ball towards Yoshikawa. He is very good at basketball, and he feels like he has been training for this moment all his life. This time, he jumps in slow motion, cue the dramatic music. Everyone thought that this time this game might finally end, but no. The huge cat is too fast. He hits Yoshikawa with a terrible paw swipe, and sadly, he dies right there. Then the cat goes on a rampage again. He starts killing the others one by one. Then Sun notices something important. The cat only eats people dressed as rats. He shouts and tells everyone about it. As a result, everyone quickly takes off their clothes, awkward but necessary. This time the cat is silent and confused for a while, but after a few moments, the terrible paw attacks start again. There are only 3 minutes left on the timer. Just when the cat is about to eat Ichika, Sun deliberately puts on a rat costume to confuse the cat. He alone stops all the cat's attacks by drawing its attention, and the others laugh nervously at the absurdity of it. He stood his ground. Now, to everyone's surprise, the cat suddenly started talking, he complained. "My back is itching. I can't sleep." Then Sun realized that he could understand the cat only because he was wearing the mouse's clothes. Sun jumped up and climbed straight onto the cat's back and started scratching it vigorously, but it didn't work initially. Now Ichika also got up to scratch it. Gradually, the cat calmed down. Then everyone started scratching his back like crazy. Finally, the cat snorted and fell asleep. They realize that this was their chance to throw the ball in the basket. But then everyone starts fighting among themselves because they think that only the one who throws the ball in the basket will survive. But due to their intense fighting and the noise of rushing, the cat wakes up again. And, being grumpy from a bad nap, it starts attacking everyone again. One is a basketball and the other is just a regular decoy ball. The cat's giant eyes blink and dart around like it's watching a tennis match. The cat doesn't know which way to look, completely confused. It jumps at the first ball it sees. Ichika throws his ball towards the hoop. Just then, Amaya suddenly jumps out of nowhere and dunks the ball into the basket himself, stealing the glory. And finally, this death march ends. But the cat now calmly announces like he didn't just try to eat everyone that only 3 people have officially survived in this game: Amaya, Sun, and Ichika. There's only one rule: only 3 can survive. Taking this literally, Amaya instantly kills the other extra survivor standing there. Amaya declares that only the strong can survive in this world, classic villain speech. Then Amaya tries to kill Ichika too, but just then the cat starts to emit smoke, effectively gassing them. Everyone faints due to the fumes. The scene shifts, and we see that the news is being broadcast across the country. The reporters state that a terrible incident has happened in all the schools at the exact same time. Many people are calling it a terrorist attack. In this tragedy, apparently, millions of students have died. Then we see massive cube-shaped objects floating in the sky over the city, and inside those cubes are all the surviving students. Not only are the citizens confused, but we, the audience, also don't really understand what is happening. Then a scientist conveniently explains, "I think it is an alien attack because it is far beyond human knowledge." Now the scene returns to the action. Sun wakes up inside the cube and sees that he is with Shoko. Shoko is his old friend in the same room, whom he hasn't seen in 3 years because Shoko transferred universities. Talk about a high-stakes reunion. There are also Tara and Toka in the room. All 4 of them have come from different universities. At that time, some text appears on a screen. It says that a death game is about to begin, and if you can defeat your opponent, you will get the key to escape this cube. Sun realizes that this nightmare is real. They are all trapped inside a cube, and suddenly some dolls appear because, well, it's time to play again. In that time, you must identify who is behind you. If you make a mistake, you die. First, Tyra is blindfolded. The puppets circle him and sing, but Tyra starts trembling with fear and guesses wrong. The puppets politely say, "Thank you for participating." Then the dolls blast a beam from their eyes to paralyze Tara, and he is crushed. Then it's Taka's turn, and the same thing happens to him. The only difference is that he dies in a significantly more gruesome way, but mercifully, that part isn't shown on screen. Shoko stands there frozen in fear and horror. Then Sun says, "I will play this time." Sun activates his inner power, let's call it his chakra, or maybe just plot armor, and finally, he is able to sense who is behind him. The Kokushi dolls explode in defeat. A key emerges from the wreckage. With that key, the door is unlocked. They rush out. Just then, Sun sees Shoko running because a Kokushi doll is chasing after her. But just in time, Shoko and Sun grab each other's hands, and the Kokushi stops immediately and lets them go. Just then, they hear another scream and see a girl being chased. Sun immediately lets go of Shoko's hand and jumps to grab the other girl's hand. Instead, apparently, he likes her more. Then they find a central console where the keys have to be inserted, and naturally, there is a timer ticking down. Everyone gathers there. They realize they only have 4 keys, but the slots require 7. Just then, 3 more keys suddenly appear. These keys were brought by Amaya. He killed his partners because, well, he needed their keys. He decided that reducing the team size was the most efficient strategy. In total, these 7 survivors insert the keys before the timer runs out. Then they are instructed to put on some specific clothes laid out for them. As soon as the keys are turned, a passage opens up. Everyone enters it, and the 7 of them find themselves in a huge ice palace. Inside the palace, a huge, scary polar bear suddenly appears. The bear announces, "I will ask you some questions. The rules are simple. If everyone answers truthfully, the game is over, but if someone lies, they will be sacrificed." The first question is, "What is your favorite food?" Everyone states their favorite dish, but the bear suddenly gets angry because apparently someone has lied. The bear growls, "You have 2 minutes, hand over the liar to me, or everyone dies." Everyone starts arguing about who lied, and in the end, everyone blames Yukio because of what he claimed was his favorite food. He said coriander, who picks a garnish as a favorite food? The bear gives Yukio a terrible punch, and he dies instantly. The game continues. Then the second question comes up, and it's a spicy one. Does anyone in this group like Sun? All the boys immediately say no bros before. Well, death games. Amaya says, "I don't talk to him much, but strictly speaking, yes I do." Ichika says, "I've known him since childhood, and honestly, I have feelings for him." Shoko chimes in and says, "Yes, I like him too." The boys joke and say, "Wow, Sun is a total playboy," because apparently half the girls in the group are in love with him. But just then, the bear gets angry again because someone else lied. One of them definitely lied. The bear tells them they have only 2 minutes to turn in the liar, or it's game over. That's when Ichika Ichika blames Amaya. He claims that Amaya lied on purpose on both questions just to kill us all, which, to be fair, sounds like something Amaya would do. But Amaya coldly replies with the edgiest line of the century. For me, love and death are the same thing. After hearing that dramatic statement, the bear says, this game is now filled with betrayal, suspicion, and distrust. He reveals that there is a liar in this group who is working for him and lying just to ensure everyone dies. Ichika and Shoko have a history that the others didn't know about. But since Ichika and Amaya go to the same school, it's accepted as true that Ichika knew Sun. However, the group decides that Sun had nothing to do with Shoko talk about gaslighting. That's what everyone starts to believe due to the paranoia. Both Ichika and Sun try desperately to save Shoko. They insist they've known Shoko for years, but no one listens to them because mob mentality is a dangerous thing. In the end, everyone gangs up and blames Shoko. Shoko tells Sun with teary eyes, I really love you. Just then, the bear brutally kills Shoko. Sun breaks down because he knew for a fact that Shoko didn't lie. Then, before the next question comes, Sun realizes who the real liar is. He started thinking hard. It's not Amaya or Ichika. No one in the group is the real liar because the bear itself is the one who is listening and manipulating the truth. He notices the blood and realizes that this specific damage cannot happen due to a bear's attack. It turns out it is not actually a white bear. The bear suddenly attacks but falls into the water during the scuffle. As soon as he falls into the water, his white paint washes off and his body starts burning. Turns out he was a fraud. Then the real truth is revealed. He is a monster with an inhuman heart and a bad paint job. The game ends here, and 5 people survive the ordeal. Then, suddenly, these 5 appear inside a temple. Just then, a Matryoshka doll rolls in. He announces that this is the final boss level. One of the 5 people has to be the monster or thief. His job is to place a tin can or leda in the middle of the circle and find the rest of the players. The other 4 have to hide from the monster's eyes. The rules of capture are simple. If the monster sees someone hiding, he will call their name and run to step on the latte or can in the middle of the circle. If he does this, that person will be caught and imprisoned in a cage. But if someone kicks the can before the monster can step on it, then everyone in the cage will be saved. But the problem is that if you kick the monster, or the can explodes, there is a massive risk. What does that mean? It means someone might have to sacrifice themselves to save the others. The game will end when the monster catches 3 people, or someone kicks the can to win. Matryoshka says at the end, let the fun begin. Easy for him to say. In this game, Amaya is chosen to be the monster or the thief. Everyone hides immediately. Amaya pushes the Matryoshka aside and places the monster prop or the tin can down. Maeda and Yuko know that they have enough time to hide, but they underestimate the villain. Just then, Amaya appears out of nowhere and catches them both instantly. Only 2 are left now. Amaya gets angry at Sun and Ichika for being good at hiding. Amaya eventually catches Ichika, and now only Sun is left. Sun realizes time is limited. They have to finish the game before the sun sets. Amaya shouts to Sun, you can come out. I caught 3 of them. Now you will be safe because you are lucky. But Ichika warns from the cage, listen, don't trust him. Amaya will cheat you. Amaya calmly says, trust me, with a face that says, definitely don't trust me. Finally, Sun comes out, but he is wearing a special helmet and ragged clothes like a suit of armor. Wearing torn clothes. Everyone wondered what on earth was going on with his fashion choice. Amaya came forward to take off his helmet to identify him. But as soon as Amaya took off Sun's helmet, he realized it was a trap. Sun had tied the armor to Amaya with a chain. The plan was to chain Amaya to the heavy armor so he wouldn't be able to run and step on the can after seeing Sun. Sun started pulling on the chain, dragging Amaya, and then Sun fell into the water behind the wall while keeping the chain tight to the clothes. Meanwhile, Amaya kept pulling on the chain from above, thinking he had Sun. On the other hand, Sun had actually slipped out of those heavy clothes and climbed up the other side. The 2 of them came forward together to race for the can, but Sun kicks the lada before Amaya can get there and throws it away goal. Then the sun sets, and Sun wins the game against the monster, so the other 3 are also freed from the cage. The game is over, and they survive by the skin of their teeth. Matryoshka declares Sun the winner because he freed everyone. Amaya loses, but surprisingly, no one dies this time. Everyone bursts into joy, celebrating being alive. Matryoshka gives everyone ice cream as a prize because nothing says trauma recovery like a popsicle. Everyone is happy to have a snack. Sun invites Ichika to go outside so they can finally have that date. Amaya is disappointed with how everything went over his head. Just then, Ichika pauses while looking at the middle of her ice cream stick. She sees something and suddenly starts to act strangely. Sun looks over and sees that his own ice cream stick has the words, "Stay alive written on it. Just then, the Matryoshka says, "It took a lot of skill for you to get here, but the last thing you needed was luck." Ichika tells Sun, "I really wanted to go out with you, but my ice cream stick has the words die written on it." And with that heartbreaking realization, she says goodbye to Sun. At that moment, the Matryoshka emits a powerful laser beam from its eyes. Because of this, everyone else dies instantly except Sun and Amaya. They were the only ones who had the words "Stay alive" written on their ice cream sticks. Now, Sun starts wondering what is happening and why the universe hates him. Sun and Amaya suddenly get transported to that giant floating cube where aliens finally appear in front of them. The aliens say, "You are the winners," and this is where this movie ends on a massive cliffhanger.